You're born at the bottom of the world. Not the cozy bottom, the real one. 2,000 meters down, where the sun has never once visited and never will. It's black. It's near freezing. The whole weight of the ocean is pressing down on you like a small mountain sitting on your back. And somehow, you're completely fine with that. This is home. You're a Bathynomus, a giant deep-sea isopod. And if that name lands like nothing, picture a woodlouse. That little gray armored bug that curls into a ball when you poke it in the garden. Now grow it to the size of a football. Congratulations. That's you. 14 legs, a suit of overlapping armor plates like a tiny knight nobody asked for, 2 huge silver eyes stuffed with around 4,000 separate lenses, all straining to catch light that mostly isn't there. You are, by every honest measure, a nightmare. And down here, you're one of the better looking ones. Let's do your childhood, which is short, because everything this deep wants to eat everything else. You hatch already looking like a miniature adult. No cute larval stage, no gentle easing in. You show up as a fully formed pocket horror and immediately start scuttling across an endless plain of gray mud, hunting for anything dead. That's the whole career. You're a scavenger. You don't chase things, you wait for them. Because the deep sea is the biggest living space on the entire planet, and it is basically a desert. Nothing grows here. Every single thing you will ever eat has to fall from far, far above. A slow, endless drizzle of dead scraps drifting down from a bright, warm world you will never, ever see. They call it marine snow. It sounds lovely. It's mostly the crumbs of a food chain happening without you, and it is nowhere near enough to live on. So you wait. And here's the first strange question, so hold on to it. How long can a living thing go without food before it simply stops being a living thing? Guess. Keep guessing. Days pass, then weeks. Nothing worth eating drifts down but flakes. Your body idles so low you're barely a rumor of an animal, just a patient shape in the mud, tasting the water for anything that might mean dinner. And then, one day, everything changes. Something enormous has died up in the light. A whale. Tons of blubber and muscle and bone. And it has just begun the long, slow sink down toward you. This is the single biggest event of your entire life. It has a name. A whale fall. Thousands of kilos of food crash landing into a world that survives on crumbs. And you, I promise you, are not going to be classy about this. From miles across the seafloor they come. Hundreds of you, maybe thousands, hauled out of the dark by the smell, clambering over each other, shoving, burrowing headfirst straight into the carcass. And you eat. Oh, you eat. Not the way a creature enjoys a nice meal. The way a creature genuinely believes it will never eat again. Because it might not. You gorge until your stomach, which, and this is real, takes up about 2/3 of your whole body, is crammed so tight you physically cannot walk anymore. You become a living balloon of meat. Too stuffed to move, just lying there in the black, legs twitching, digesting, victorious. Dignity is a surface world thing. You wouldn't know about it. And then the whale is gone, stripped to clean white bone by you and 10,000 others. The feast ends as fast as it arrived. The desert comes back. And now comes the part that, by every rule of biology, should absolutely kill you. The food stops. Completely. No whale, no fish, no crumbs worth the walk. A month goes by. You're fine. 6 months. Still fine. A whole year passes in total darkness and you have not swallowed a single thing. And you are, somehow, still alive down there. 2 years. 3. This is the point where every other animal you've ever heard of would have quietly starved a long, long time ago. A human lasts weeks. Most creatures, days. But you just wait. 4 years. 5. Half a decade on an empty stomach, and whatever passes for your heart is still going. How do you think that went? Exactly. You lived. For a long time, nobody up in the bright world had any idea how. And then, in June of 2026, scientists at the Institute of Oceanology in China finally cut the whole mystery open, published it in the journal Cell, and the answer turned out to be a straight-up heist. Part of it is that enormous stomach, a pantry roomy enough to hoard one good feast for years, sipping at it slowly like the world's grimmest packed lunch. Part of it is that you've cranked your metabolism down to almost nothing, burning energy so slowly you're barely even smoldering. But the strangest part is where that trick actually came from. Somewhere back in your family history, your ancestors did something animals are flatly not supposed to be able to do. They stole a gene. Not inherited it, stole it. Lifted a piece of working genetic code, a gene called ND1, straight out of the bacteria living inside your own body, and just kept it. Filed it under mine now. Scientists call it horizontal gene transfer. It's the biological version of finding a stranger's house key on the sidewalk and deciding it opens your front door from now on. That borrowed bacterial gene helps choke your metabolism down into the deep, slow idle that lets you outlast a famine that would flatten anything else alive. You are, quite literally, running partly on machinery your own microbes designed. Try not to think about that one too hard. But let's be honest about what all that waiting really costs, because 5 years is the ceiling, not the plan. When the hunger drags on long enough, and no whale comes, and the crumbs run out entirely, a darker door swings open. You start looking around at the others, the slow ones, the weak ones, your own kind. And this deep, family is really just the meal that happens to be standing closest. It isn't cruelty. There's no room for cruelty down here. There's only the flat arithmetic of a place that hands you almost nothing and dares you to survive on it anyway. If your body senses a threat before it comes to that, you do the one thing your garden cousins do. You tuck those 14 legs in, curl your armor into a tight ball, and vanish inside yourself. Now here's the line that should flip everything you're feeling right now. You are not some sad, failed, primitive creature clinging to life by a thread. You're the exact opposite. Your kind has looked almost precisely like this for tens of millions of years. Back past the point where anything remotely like a human existed, you rode out mass extinctions that wiped far flashier, far fancier animals clean off the planet. While the surface world up there burned and froze and reinvented itself over and over and over, you just sat in the dark, turned your whole body down to a whisper, and waited it out every time. And that whale, the one that fed you, it was royalty of the bright world above. It sang. It crossed entire oceans. It was warm and huge and alive in a way you will never be. And in the end, it sank into the black and became your groceries. So the next time somebody calls the deep sea empty, remember who's actually running the place. Not the fast things, not the warm things, not the ones that sing. It's the patient thing in the armor, 14 legs folded, stomach still full of a borrowed feast. 4,000 lenses aimed at a darkness that is never, ever going to brighten. Doing the single thing almost nothing else alive on this planet can do. Nothing. For years. On purpose. And waiting, it turns out, is how you win.